Holy conspiracy theories, Batman. Like, this book is going to set off so many people's radars, and like so many people are going to fall down that rabbit hole. Not that it like actually covers them or anything. It's just like kind of a vibe you get, I guess. That's going to be Mr. Magic by Kiersten White. Oh my goodness, this book. I'm going to say it's a suspense, but with a little elements of slight horror. Definitely some vibes, but I enjoyed it so much. I did. And yeah, so it's good. I mean, but like you can kind of tell that the cover, you know, it wants to say that. So today we're going to talk about this. The thumbnail and possibly the description title would have said that it's going to be spoiler free. And this is. I'm going to control myself because of the type of book it is. If I delved into that, it would probably give too much away. I will say one minute little almost spoiler, but it's just going to be like woohoo, go my brain kind of thing. That's all. If you're new here, hi, I'm Morgan. We do book reviews. I know they have been few and far between, but also vlogs and unboxings and TBR games, and I'm going to get more reviews up. I keep saying that. I'm going to. So check out some of my other videos, and if you like them, subscribe. But now we're going to talk about this book. Normally in the reviews, I won't read the actual description of the book. I'll just kind of describe it myself. But I feel like me describing it would give a different slight impression than the description from the book itself, which I really wanted to read it from the description itself. And so it's like, in 30 years since the tragic accident shut down production of the classic children's program Mr. Magic, the 5 surviving cast members have done their best to move on. But as generations of cultishly devoted fans still cling to the lessons they learned from the show, the cast, known as the Circle of Friends, have spent their lives searching for the happiness they felt while they were on it. The friendship, the feeling of belonging, and the protection of Mr. Magic. But with no surviving video of the show, no evidence of who directed or produced it, and no records of who or what the beloved host actually was. Man, I try to look at the camera and I mess it up. Memories are all the former Circle of Friends have. Then a twist of fate brings the castmates back together at the remote desert filming compound that feels like it's been waiting for them all this time. Even though they haven't seen each other for years, they understand one another better than anyone else has since. After all, they're the ones who hold the secret of that circle, the key to the mystery of the magic man and his infinitely black cape, and maybe the answers to what really happened on that deadly last day. But as the Circle of Friends reclaim parts of their past, they begin to wonder, are they here by choice or have they been lured into a trap? So see, that gives you this impression of something. I can't say it gives you the impression of something and not follow it up. I guess of this longing that all of them have, of that you might, since they never really specifically said a character, that you might be seeing from all of them, that, you know, they're going to try to solve this mystery. And, you know, it tells you in that the deadly last day, the accident on set. So it tells you all of that, but you go through the whole book pretty much before you find out what really happened on that last day. Like, that's one of the biggest things our character is trying to figure out and put those pieces back together. Because, we'll move into the main character now, Valentine. What's her last name? Oh. Okay, so I just had the realization that I don't remember it ever mentioning her last time. I'm sure there is. Her name, though, is Valentina. She goes by Val. And all of the characters we're following are in their late 30s, just at 40, or right over 40. So Val is 38, and she works on a ranch where, you know, they do typical housing, horses and stuff. But she also works in this summer program for children where the parents will bring them to, you know, learn responsibility, do a summer camp type thing, and writing lessons there at the ranch. So she works very closely with children and she loves her job. However, she's been there her whole life. Well, since the show. And she has no memory of her life before the ranch. None. She lives there with her dad, who she's been taking care of since he had a stroke a few years ago. And she's very good, though, at working with the girls at... Is there boys? I think they're... I no longer remember. And at just working with parents to get them to see what's best for their kids. Like, there's an example of one mom who's like really upset, angry, like why isn't her daughter getting riding lessons? Why is she with goats and stuff? Because her kid doesn't want to be near the horses. She's terrified of the horses. She doesn't want to do that. And Val just kind of talks her around to like seeing how her daughter's happy and doing what's best for her daughter. That's a good theme. It'll carry through the book, by the way. So we quickly find out, though, a few chapters in, that the whole book is going to be from Val's perspective. Like, you are Val. You are seeing through Val. You are her, but it's like, it's still third person, though. It's third person, even when it does get to the chapters, intermissions, maybe, where you do see the other characters, but you're never seeing them in the same way you're seeing Val. Like, you can see what Val is thinking, kind of like she's thinking it to herself and everything, but it's never the same with the other characters. When they're seeing those, it's like somebody is narrating what they're feeling by what they look like, how their body's moving, this and that. So it's different. The first of the circle of friends you are introduced to, though, would be Isaac, who was the oldest on the show, and he was always supposed to be the responsible, look out for the others one. And as it mentioned several times, he was always the one able to find Val if she disappeared. And that translates to later in life, he's a PI, and he's found Val. Then we meet Marcus, who he was, I don't want to say he's the creative one, because like a lot of them came up with games and stuff, but he was the artist. Like, all of the beautiful sets that they had, they were from Marcus's imagination and his brain. And it's just talent. Like, he probably, instead of an actor, he probably should have tried to do that, but I guess it wouldn't translate the same as from the two mediums. For sure. I can't say more than that. I can't. Okay. And next we meet Javi, who was always kind of the mischief maker of this show, but it was all, you know, in little kid mischief and all just kind of good fun. Because it wasn't mischief. It was just, you know, I'm going to sneak this toy out. I'm going to, you know, trick you into this kind of thing. And he's become a lawyer. He has become a lawyer kind of because that's, you know, his family's path for him. All of his family are involved in stuff like that. So that's what he did. And he is very snarky. He's the snarky kind of person. Another word could be asshole, but you know. And then we meet our final castmate, which is Jenny. Jenny has remained where the show was filmed. Like, that's her family, I think, was originally from there. And so after the show ended, she stayed there. And so she has still been involved with the town and with this podcast. Let's go ahead and say it. This podcast that is going to bring all of these friends back together. Jenny was always known as the loyal one on the show. She was always the friend. She was never really the center. Really, Sunshine? Cat bumping tripod. So, yeah, Jenny was never... I don't know what to say there, not me. Because everything it says she wasn't, it's like, it's what it says she wasn't. So I don't know. Jenny probably could have been so much more, but it fit her into this box. And then she fit herself into this box for the rest of her life. Like, she's going to be the one that takes care of everybody. She's going to be the second fiddle to everybody the rest of her life, for her friends, husband, kids. And it really makes her feel like nobody actually cares about her. And she just wants to be accepted and loved as she is, and just overwhelmed. Huh. Yeah. Like, my mom's situation is not the same as Jenny's, but still, like, some things I could totally relate on. Yeah. I'm gonna need those notes. The main plot of the book, though, as I said, Val is going to be our main perspective and character, is that 30 years after the discontinuation of the show Mr. Magic, they are doing a reunion type podcast, and they're bringing back the last circle of friends to kind of, you know, to interview them, do things. And our PI, Isaac, has found Val again at the ranch. And she has put this huge mental block up in her mind to where she doesn't remember her life before the ranch at all. And so when he finds her, and I think, yeah, Isaac, Marcus, and Javi are all there because they were flying in to do this podcast, and they, like, Isaac had gotten this hit, and he found out Val was only, like, not so far away. So instead of taking their next leg of their flight, they drove to the ranch in Idaho where Val was. And then she asked, okay, even though I don't remember, can I go with you guys to get answers about my past? And they're like, yes, we would love for you to come back. We would love for you to figure this out and everything. So they drive all the way to the middle of Utah, right? Yeah, they were in the Utah desert. So they drive from the ranch in Idaho to the Utah desert. And things are just weird as soon as they get there. But it's centered around the podcast and the reunion and Val getting answers about this past that she doesn't remember. She's very creeped out. Things aren't adding up. Things don't make sense. And just weird happenings. Weird happenings. And so many creepy moments. Like, I think that's what the purple is every time I said, this felt weird. This felt creepy. The first one no, it was even before that. But one of the first ones was when they were still driving towards the place where the podcast was going to be and where the show used to be filmed and stuff. They stopped at a gas station and Val mentions to the clerk there, the old lady, that she's headed to this town called Bliss. And the old lady's like, you don't want to go there. Nothing you hope for will be there. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they drive to the town and it's described and I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my God, it's a cult. That's not the spoiler. I might cut that part out. I might leave it. I don't know. That's not the spoiler because you'll get that as soon as you see it too. One of the big themes of the book though, like that was a plot, but the big theme is trying to recapture this happiness of your childhood, of how we'll remember something as being better, being a happier time. Like, cause you're looking at it through like stained glass almost. Not a stained glass because that's multicolored, but just through a lens. You're looking at your childhood through a lens, thinking everything was better back then, like that. And just trying to recapture this happiness, and it's not possible. And sometimes you have to be shown something to see like, maybe it was not actually happier then. The book itself, like the feel of it, I do kind of think it's a suspense, a slight mystery as Val's trying to figure out these missing bits of her past and what happened on that last day of set, why she left, because she doesn't even know why she left, and what caused everything to go wrong. But there's also this very dark, ominous, creepy feel throughout the whole book too. That's why I say it's got maybe hints of horror to it, and it's just, it's just got this dark vibe for a lot of the book. So I think this was a perfect month to read it. Maybe October. October could have worked, but I prefer more witchy, those sorts of books in October. But there are the hints. The one little almost spoiler that I'm going to say is I totally called what Mr. Magic was. They said what was the host of the show, the enigmatic Mr. Magic. I called it mostly. I'd put that is probably this, and it was almost. Except with a twist. I'll give it to her. She did it a bit differently. But I understood what she was trying to say it was, like, or how it got roped into doing this kid show without it pinning down exactly what it was. Because, like I said, she did it a bit differently. So that was fun for me. I called it. But yeah, that's my only spoiler besides that one little gas station comment I made too. The actual book rating though came out being a 4.5 stars. So I was very happy with that. I'm impressed by that myself. I think we did very well working that out together. Yes. I was slightly worried that I had hyped it up too much in my head and I wasn't going to enjoy it as much as I thought I would, but it did not let me down. I was excited to read this every chance I could get, which not having the audiobook did mean less chances, especially in a busy week. But yes, I do wish I could have found the audio too, just so I could have spoken about the narration style, like how they might have played that off. Interesting bits about the book then. So the first interesting bit I actually kind of said is that nothing in this really said or overtly said that, but it had the hint of supernatural. Like you just had this feeling that something not quite normal was going on. So it had hints of supernatural without actually saying it through the whole book. The next thing though is the way the chapters are set up. Like it's not even just that okay, actually, I should probably say this part first. It's told in, or it's not told, but there is a mixed media aspect happening through the book. Like in between the chapters, you will have a chat room forum set up, like a little page that looks like a chat room. Or you'll have IMs, or you'll have emails, or one of them was like a thesis statement thing. Yeah, so it's just these mixed media intermediaries between the chapters that just kind of gives you outside world perspectives of Mr. Magic, like what people around the world thought of Mr. Magic and how they're still talking about it and still feeling about it. It was interesting. I very much enjoyed that outside take on it and how it was still so prevalent to the world. And then the other thing that I had listed before the mixed media, but is the chapters themselves. Like, they start out numbered, right? Or is the first one have a name? Oh crap, hold on. Okay, so it's actually 3 ways. So some of the chapters have nothing. It's just like a bar and then words. Other chapters, like chapter 1, has a number and then the bar and the words. And when I say bar, it looks kind of like that, just in black and white. So you have numbered chapters, but then you also have chapters with names. And first I was like, oh, okay, cool. We're going back and forth here. And then you get back to the numbered chapters and you pick up where the last number left off. So they're kind of uneven there. Like there's some with nothing, then there's numbers, and then there's something with a name. And then there's back to the numbers, starting with the next one that would have followed if we hadn't had the name. So it's a little odd in that regard, but I did like the chapter names. I did. I like chapter names. So it was just interesting. It was a very interesting way to go about it. It was a great story. It was a really good story. And you can see the author's inspiration for it. And if you read her author letter at the end, which I've gotten in the habit of doing, and she kind of answers one of the questions you might have had about that. And yeah, I like this book a lot, and I really, really recommend for you to check it out because it's not super long either. It's not super long, and I would like other people to read it so I could see if you picked up on stuff like I picked up on stuff early on, or it was a surprise to you. So yes, highly, highly recommend Mr. Magic. This was a good time. Definitely perfect September read. It would have been nicer if it was starting to get chilly, but it also fits for the heat too, because they're in the desert and part of it's really hot. So it's okay. That works too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you will consider checking out some of my other ones. We'll say like the September TBR. Yeah, we'll say that one. Or every Monday we put out the weekly new book releases, which is how I actually found out about this one. Was just in the weekly book releases. I didn't even have them all anticipated. I'm getting off topic. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. Thank you all so much. I hope you're finding something awesome to read today, and I'll see you later.